My guest today is Taylor Scott. Taylor is a best-selling author, inspirational keynote speaker, and organizational development consultant. He leverages his personal experiences and 20 years working in the hospitality industry for Disney Parks and Resorts, Gaylord Hotels and Resorts, Wynn Resorts, and the Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas to connect with and inspire leaders at all levels. He's the author of Give Hospitality, Lead with Hospitality, and Ball Games to Boardrooms. Thanks so much for joining me today, Taylor.
Thank you for having me. Great to meet you.
Glad to meet you too. I'm thrilled to have you here. As you and I talked about before we started recording, it's three tips. And the first question I have for you is this. Is there a space for kindness in business when competition is so fierce? And why would kindness benefit organizations?
I believe absolutely positively, yes. Um, there is a place for it in business, mostly because it is so competitive. So I believe that that could be one of, not the only one, but it could be a competitive advantage, is in the sea of sameness that is the business world. Both for the people, if you're a leader, if you're a small business, or if you're a business um, that relies on having a team or having people, well, you got to A, be able to attract the right talent, and B, you got to be able to keep them there. So the way I like to frame up kindness is like think about it with three things.
Okay.
Can you like I looked up the word kindness in a dictionary back when I was doing my book Lead with Hospitality, and I was writing this chapter on it. And the chapter was going to be around the idea of being courteous, showing courtesy. And then I realized, I don't know about you or anybody listening, I thought about some places that I used to work and some people for whom I used to work. It's like it's possible to be courteous and it can be real fake. It can be not like the real them. The thing about kindness is that it's a little bit more genuine. And so when I started to really dive into what kindness really means, this idea of doing things for people without any expectation of anything in return. So then you start to unpack what I then dove into, which was generosity. So I like to think of genuine kindness. There's three ways that you and I can both, as leaders, have a competitive advantage to get the right talent and keep the right people around us that want to be a part of what we're doing. But also, when we are treating our each other like that, we're gonna also treat our guests, customers, and clients like that, which could also be this competitive advantage. So three things. Think about giving. So giving your time, giving your talent, and giving your heart. Sounds simple, sounds mushy, sounds Pollyanna, but now think about all the businesses with whom you interact as a customer. How many of them are actually that you can honestly say at the conversational point of sale where the rubber meets the road, where the magic happens? Do you get treated with that? Where somebody's giving you their time, they're giving you their special talents, the things that make them special, they're just flat out giving it to you. Um, and then how many of those places, when you think about it, are actually giving their heart? Do they actually care about you, not only today in this moment, but care about you enough about your future to take that good of care of you this moment with the problem that you have that they can help solve with their product or service or whatever that case may be. Give your time, give your talent, and give your heart. Three ways I believe we can all give genuine kindness to people.
Yeah, I love that. And I totally agree with you. That is a competitive advantage in this world because unfortunately there aren't enough, businesses doing it as of yet because they don't see the value in it. It also feels like it's easier than being another way. So thank you for that. Now let's talk about the second question I have for you, which is what does being intentional mean? And then, how does that help a company grow?
Yeah, intentional to me means doing things on purpose, with a purpose, for a purpose. On purpose, with a purpose, for a purpose. So those of us that are out here that consider ourselves leaders or entrepreneurs, whether it's small business or if you're a leader that's working at a medium to large size organization and you're a leader of a organization within the overarching organization, um, there's a lot of reasons to be intentional. and how it can help a business. I believe what I've experienced both out here working, all those places you mentioned at the Open, but also the last 5 years or so, been out here as a sort of a third party consultant or a vendor of organizations, big and small, as big as some like largest airline in the history of aviation, without naming names, they connect people and unite the world. So like I've worked with organizations that big and still am for the last 4 or 5 years. Also, small startups up and coming. So here's what it can do for us. We as leaders have the responsibility to not only set the vision of where we're going as an organization, but also to really define and be able to articulate and keep telling the story of why it is we exist in the first place. So mission is why we exist. Vision is where we're going. And then values become the how. Values are how we do what we do. So when leaders and organizations not only make sure they have dialed in and they're able to articulate and tell the story of why they exist, with what's their mission, but also where we're going, and then go to the links and say, as an organization, here are our 4 or 5 organizational values. Here's what you can do with that. You then open the door and you pave the way for yourself as well as people on your team to become intentional. So when we know what our values are, we can go out and select people whose values align with our values. And when we know what our values are, once they get in the organization, we can then recognize them and praise them for when we see them behaving in such a way and upholding the very values that we believe will help us get to where we're wanting to go, which is our vision.
Right.
And then when we know our values, we can coach appropriately. It becomes not necessarily easy, but it becomes simple or simpler to have conversations and feedback conversations when people don't, their behavior doesn't align with who we know we need to be.
Right.
The conversation can become really simple. It's like, we talked about those values when you got hired. We talk about those values in our weekly one-on-one conversations. We talk about them in our team meetings. We talk about them on the back office hallways when we're recognizing people. So when you behave like that, how does that align or not align with the values that we've all committed to upholding? It makes it just a little simpler. So to me, what intention means, and it's what it can do for an organization. And it goes back to a couple quotes like Yogi Berra once said, if we don't know where we're going, we're going to wind up somewhere else. So that's the first one. The other one that I love is from Roy O. Disney, that says, when we know what our values are, it's easy to make decisions.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the intentionality can come into play. But it all starts with the leader being able to not jump all the way in until we have a mission that's clearly defined. We have a vision that is not only clearly defined in terms of the direction of where we're going, but we've crafted it in such a way that it's compelling enough to get people to want to join us and to be a part of our cause. And then the special sauce, what I've witnessed and experienced at places like Disney and places like the Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas, is when at the organizational level, when all the leaders that are in place, when everybody is on the same page and aligned with mission, vision, and the values, you then can be able to have really, really neat conversations with everybody that's on your team about how their work, how their contributions are contributing to the overarching purpose of the organization. So there's a lot going on there, but in the short time we have, that's my take on intentionality.
Yeah, I love it. And, fortunately or unfortunately, one of the thoughts that keeps going on in my head is it's great to have the mission, vision, and values. You have to live them. And the very top has to live them if they're going to expect anyone else to live them. Right? And
100%.
and it helps inform, as you said, how you work with your clients, but not only who your clients are, because some clients are not going to be in alignment with that. And it's easy to see, right? It's one of the things it is easy to be intentional about here's who we work with, here's who we don't work with because we have this framework.
That's right. Yeah, I believe in just caring for people. And I like the Simon Sinek one line. He's got a lot of one-liners, but I like the one where he's like, leadership isn't about being in charge. It's about taking care of the people in your charge.
Yes.
Like to that, to
Yeah.
your point, like there's a reason I'm not a consultant for like certain organizations.
Yeah.
Like when you work for Tesla, they're gonna come right out and tell you we don't really care like
Yeah.
about your feelings. This thing is about results. Well, I'm probably not going to align with that. So
Yeah.
I can be intentional about
Yeah.
not pursuing them as a client, and they
Yep.
can be intentional about not bringing me on as a consultant.
Right. 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 Because there is no alignment. Okay. Question number 3. How can leaders actually, this goes with pretty much with what I was just saying, embody and sustain a spirit of genuine hospitality in their everyday team interactions? What does it look like? How does it show up?
Yeah, I'm going to give you 6 things.
Okay.
I'm going to give you 6 things, and there's a lot that goes with each of the 6.
Okay.
And people can come to leadwithhospitality.com. They can get that book called Lead with Hospitality, Barnes and Noble, Amazon, Books a Million, wherever books are sold. The brand new one we just put out is a leadership fable, a story this time.
Good.
And we talk about all of the above. So here's what I believe
Okay.
are 6 virtues of leading with hospitality. Number 1, have a commitment to connection,
Mhm.
like a commitment to always connect with people on a human level. Number 2 is strive for self-mastery. That means emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
So like, we all know there's 4 components of emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness. You put all 3 of those together and you got relationship management. So while we're out here connecting with people, strive for self-mastery. Take note of what gets on your nerves, what gives you joy, what you're great in, what your gifts are, your natural gifts, how well you're able to give those to people. Number 3 is think about leadership as a service to other people.
Mhm.
Connect on a human level with a commitment to connection. Strive for self-mastery. Get in a mindset of serving others. And if you wonder, how am I going to serve today? Like, what's that really mean? Take out, like, write this one down. Ready? I got a little acronym, spells lead. Listen, educate, act, take action, and deliver on your promise as the leader. Listen, educate, teach people what you've learned, pass along your knowledge, take action, be present out there, and then deliver on your promise. Give people the tools, information, resources, the clear expectations they need. So that's a little, if you wonder how to serve, there's 4 quick, easy things to remember. Number 1, commitment to connection. Number 2, strive for self-mastery. Number 3, think about leadership as a service. Number 4, engage purposefully. Goes back to the intentionality piece. Not just engaging to engage, but engaging purposefully. Here's 3 ways I believe we can engage purposefully. Number 1, go back to that, give genuine kindness by giving your time, give your talent, give your heart. Second thing is think about purpose. What is your own personal purpose? Once you find that, help other people discover their personal purpose. And then as a leader, always make sure that you're connecting every single individual on your team, connect their work and their role to the overarching purpose of the organization. That's what I mean when I say engage purposefully.
Yeah.
Number 5, coach. Coach with grace, grit, and intention. Grace, like, yeah, give people grace,
Yeah.
ask for grace,
Yeah.
and then try to be as graceful as you can with how you speak and how you act, because that in itself is magnetically attractive. But then when you give people things like the vision, help them with dialed in, laser focused SMART goals, and help them craft actionable daily, like, game plans, action plans, that's the grit and intention piece. Connect, strive for self-mastery, serve, engage, coach. And the number 6 virtue, I believe, of leading with hospitality, how any organization, any leader on any level, anywhere can bring these things to life. Number 6 is become inspired yourself to inspire other people. And by that, I mean, we got to stay filled up so we can pour into other people. When I do keynotes, when I'm doing my workshops and my team's doing, a lot of times we'll have like an actual glass or a cup and it'll be empty and we'll turn it upside down. It's impossible to pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
So feed your mind, feed your body, feed your soul so that you are coming from this posture of I am so full of life and love and care and wisdom and knowledge that I'm set up to give to other people and inspire them. And
Yeah.
then along with the inspiration piece is leverage storytelling as much as you can. Few things help us connect on a human level more than a story. Maybe that's the Disney that's still in me, that I can't shake it. Like you can take the boy out of Disney, you can't take the Disney out of the boy kind of. And then the final thing with inspiration is what can you do that's a little bit extra to elevate the experience of anyone and everyone around you, whether it's a coworker, that's a peer, a person on your team, your own leader, and especially your guests, customers, and clients. So in summary, you ask, how do you bring to life the spirit and the culture of hospitality? Connect on a human level, strive for self-mastery, serve, engage, coach, and inspire. And when and if at all possible, in that order as much as we can. Because think about it. How often have we tried to coach and inspire before we've successfully connected and served? It usually falls flat on its face. So that's the idea, was the inspiration behind why I wanted to get into this work, why this has become our platform, is that I started researching what are the links between gracious hospitality
Uh,
and inspirational, dare I say, transformational leadership. And these were the threads that I found.
Boy, I just love that. It makes so much sense. And I love that you said you got to do it in that order because you're right. You have to show up, right? You got to build the trust and show that you mean it, right? Before anyone's going to listen to you or believe that you have their best interest in mind. So, yeah, yeah, totally awesome. Okay, I know you said something about, like getting the books, but first of all, thank you so much for being here. Will you tell the listeners how they can find you?
Yeah, for sure. Leadwithhospitality.com. That's our website. We put a lot of work into it, put a lot of heart into it, and we hope it's set up in a way that it's easily navigated. You can find how to work with us on there. We do leadership development workshops. I do keynote experiences, keynote speeches. We have 3 books, as you mentioned. I've got complimentary resources like action plans that people can get the book and then download the action plans for absolutely no charge whatsoever. And you can use those for introspection moments for yourself, but also if you're a leader of a small business, download the action plan, email it to everybody. Everybody reads the book together. And then every 2 or 3 weeks, you get
Mhm.
together to talk about 2 or 3 chapters. So yeah, leadwithhospitality.com. I am Taylor at leadwithhospitality.com and email. I'm on LinkedIn. Just type in Taylor Scott, lead with hospitality. I'll usually pop up. I'll be the redheaded white guy on there. And then I'm at tscott1502 on Instagram. And I'm no longer on Twitter or X. Kind of got out of that.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, either. Okay, cool. Well, as once again, thank you so much for spending this time with us. And listeners, thank you. You are who we're doing this for.